You are listening to Pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 58, Specific Skill Letters. We live in confusing times. We probably feel confused in some way, more time than we feel clear. It's as if we feel more or less confused almost all the time. Stressful times are confusing times. And in our framework of emotional skills, one of the 5 situations is the situation called confused. It is the one denoted with 2 grayish question marks. What we want when we are confused is not to be rid of our confusion. That is not possible. Confusion is sort of tricky that way. It has this way of turning up in different places. So we reach clarity in one place, and then confusion has moved on to another place. So what we want for our confusion is not to be rid of it, because that's not really realistic. But what we can do is to dedicate time to building a structure for our confusion. So it's sort of like we need food in order to live. So we create a structure for food. And in the same way, confusion is unavoidable in times of conflict. There will always be some degree of confusion. So in a similar manner, we build a structure for our personal confusion. Today's episode is called Specific Skill Letters. And this specific skill is specific for our confused situation. For whenever we feel confused and need structure for our confusion. And letters is one of our 3 specific skills for our confusion. Letters means these, classical written letters. So not the symbols that we write with, not that kind of letters, but the actual taking a pen to paper and writing a message and addressing that message to someone. But letters, specific skill letters, is more than that. When we put pen to paper, when we write a letter, what we do is we make clear what is our voice, and we make clear what is our voice addressed to a specific person. Because in a traditional sense, as we think about letters and the phenomenon of letters, we think about one person addressing one other person. And if you have ever exchanged real letters with someone at some point, you know what I'm talking about, that there is this very distinct feeling that this going back and forth, sending one letter in one direction, and then the other recipient responding with their letter in kind. And after a while, you get this sort of very distinct feeling of two distinct persons talking to each other. Two distinct persons being somewhat similar, sharing different things, but also being different, that they differ on some points. Specific skill letters is about making clear what is our voice, what is our intention, what is our feeling, what is our idea, and what is the same of the other person. Specific skill letters is about becoming more distinct. It's about clarifying what is me and what is you. What is me and what is a third person. What is me and what is a fourth party. And so on. Specific skill letters does not mean that we have to send physical, actual letters to all the people in our lives. That's not what this emotional skill is about. Letters is about making clear to ourselves what is me and what is the other, and what is both of us. So, how do we go about this? How do we practically practice specific skill letters? One way is to actually sit down with pen and paper. And you sit down by yourself. And what you're gonna do is that you're gonna do an exercise of sorts. What you're gonna do is that you're gonna write a letter. But you are not necessarily gonna send it to anyone. You're just gonna write a letter to make clear to yourself where things should go. It's a sorting process. So you sit down with pen and paper and you call to mind with your imagination. You call to mind someone who is confusing you, or someone who feels confused in your life, or someone who is, after you've met this person, you're feeling at a loss somehow. There's something confusing about the relationship to this person. So you sit down with pen and paper and you do one of two things. Either you write a letter as yourself to this person, but you're not gonna send it. You're just gonna write it and read it yourself. Or, in the second option, you write a letter to yourself, but you put yourself in the other person's shoes. So you write a letter to yourself as if you had the voice of the other person. And what happens when you do this, when you sit down and physically put to paper what is your voice to the other person and what is the other person's voice to you as you see it, then that will become a powerful structure for your confusion. So I say that one more time. When you put to paper your thoughts about the other person and the other person's thoughts about you, then you will have a powerful physical tool, a powerful physical structure for your confusion. When we do this, when we create a physical object, a physical manifestation of our own confusion, when we put it outside of ourselves, pen to paper, and we can hold our confusion, physically we can hold our confusion in our hands, on this piece of paper. When we do this, our confusion will not feel as overwhelming. Our confusion will not feel as influential over our life. Because, in some sense, now, as we have put our confusion to paper, it exists outside of us. It's not only inside, it's also outside of us. This is very powerful. In this last part of today's episode, I want to say a few things about why we confuse our voice with the voices of others. Oftentimes, as we are in relationships with people, could be our family, could be our friends, could be our workplace, could be our countrymen or our community. In our relationships, we have face. At all times, we think about saving face. At all times, we think about dignity, and we think about how we appear. This is very tightly connected to our sense of safety and predictability. So at all times, we are very sensitive to saving face. And in those relationships that we have, when we depend on someone for one reason or another, or that we really like someone, in those relationships, then we will be also very concerned about saving their faces. We will be very sensitive to their needs, to how they look to other people. Specific skill letters is a very graceful way of addressing the confusion we feel when we mistake our face for the face of someone else that we depend on or like very much. And we are confused about this all the time. We mistake the face of a loved one for our own all the time. Or we mistake the face of someone we respect or fear all the time. All the time. And as we put pen to paper, as we create something external, something physical as a letter of our confusion, we make clear what is my face and what is your face. And as we do that, we will be in a better position to really take care of both our own and others' face. Our own and others' dignity. It will be easier making plans together with the people we live with if we make use of specific skill letters. It will just make conflict that much more constructive. It will minimize stupid mistakes being made in split-second decisions. After all, this kind of confusion of saving face comes down to our connection with the people we live with. And we cannot live without these connections. We must take care of these connections. We must pay respect to saving face. It is very fundamental to the relationships of people. This kind of confusion is not optional. We cannot escape it, but we can build a structure for it. And specific skill letters is a powerful way to do that. That's it for today. Thank you.